What's going on, beautiful people of YouTube? It's Renebean. Welcome to another episode of Life of a Game Hunter / Collector. And as you can see, I got another pile of awesome stuff from last week's pickups. This was just from one day, minus a PS3 and a few other things. We got a GameCube, a Wii, a couple NESs, and plus I got a couple packages that came in for refurbishment work. So we'll have to take care of that. If none of this stuff is working properly, I'll do any necessary repairs to get it up and running so I can indeed sell these items. So anyways, sit back and relax. Let's make some money. Alright guys, so like I said, we got a couple packages here before we start getting into consoles that are sent in for refurb. This one right here was through a buddy of mine named Mr. Jeremy, and this was actually a trade. He hit me up and said, hey, I got this Game Gear. This is the limited edition blue, which I'm always after. They sell for quite a bit. It's defective, of course. And he saw some things on my eBay store that he wanted to trade for it, and that's where we get this from. It's absolutely hilarious. So he put his royal beamness, and y'all people kill me with this stuff. Alright, let's see what we got. It's packaged nicely. He always does a good job with his packaging. And I found, or I got my razor, but I got to go back into the house to get the actual blades. I didn't bring those out here. I got one of those for out there and in here. Oh, it's always nice to see that blue. Alright. Now this other one in here is another Game Gear that got sent in to be refurbed. Unfortunately, I only have one glass screen left, so I'm going to do the one that got sent in because they paid for this one while this was just a trade for me to sell later on. So that one will have priority over my personal use because the customer is always first. But yeah, this is just a standard blue. He was worried that I wouldn't be able to actually fix this, but always keep in mind, even if you can, if the board's completely shot, these guts in here are pretty much universal with all the others, so I can take any other Game Gear and strip it and put the parts inside this, and there you go, you have a limited edition blue, and you can have the same board and everything. It can be matched up perfectly, so I'm very happy about that. Once this thing is refurbed up, I can usually sell these between 100 and 120 bucks. So defective as it is, we did a trade. He was happy with it, and I am happy with that. So thank you, Mr. Jeremy. Let's check out this other one here. So this next one, like I said, was sent in for just complete refurbishment. I offer that service. You can send your Game Gear in to me, and I will completely recap it, and I will throw a glass screen on there. That's going to be this is going to be the one that we're doing that with. Let's get this open here if I can. There we go. Oh, I can see why he wanted this one. I can't remember if he sent pics in or not. Yeah, he did because he didn't have backs. But he has another blue as well. I always like to look at the contact. Those contacts are rough, man. It makes me worried about the inside of this thing. Oh yeah, this thing just looks in terrible condition. This is going to be a hard one to get up and running, but that's going to be the focus at the end of this episode, is to work on this one. He said he sent in a battery pack too after he shipped everything. I can't do anything with battery packs. Usually the cells will dry up in them, or maybe you just didn't charge enough. These things go out over time. I don't do anything with them. I'll have to ship that back. I usually just like to keep it a Game Gear because it keeps shipping costs very light, but he sent that in after the fact. But anyways, this is what we'll work on at the end of the episode. This will be a time lapse, but that thing is in rough shape. I got a couple black battery covers I'll throw in for him, but it won't be the blues, but he'll be happy to get that thing up and running if I can do it. And if I can't, I never charge the person. I send it back, refund them their money, minus shipping, and go on from there. But usually, we got good luck. So let's go ahead and test out the console. So I got this Wii right here for $7. I had everything with it, a controller too, a nunchuck. Great deal, obviously. I'm very intrigued about this one because I had the wheel with it, with the controller inside. Which, as you know, when you watch this channel, I always love turning on a Wii because you never know what's inside. Hell, there could be a copy of Smash Brothers Melee. This is GameCube compatible. But with that wheel, I'm really hoping for a copy of Mario Kart just to make it sweet. I mean, you never know what's going to be inside here. I mean, hell, there could be Hello Kitty Cruisers for the Wii U on here because they didn't realize it didn't play and then decided to sell it. Who knows? The world is your oyster, man. I'm ready to shuck the hell out of it. Ah, God almighty, are these corroded in here? Oh, a little bit. If you got corrosion in your battery compartments, get you a couple batteries. Oh hell, I'm getting low on batteries. Oh wait, no, I already. Oh, those are the batteries I pulled out. All right, get you a couple batteries, get you a Q-tip, some isopropyl, clean the contacts. Hopefully we're gonna get some action out of them here. And this is just a very basic clean right here. I'm just gonna hopefully get just get a little light to come on for me. See, I'm also, oh no, there it went. See now, when I rub the batteries back and forth, I always tell people this is how you test a battery compartment. Once you do the basic cleaning, if you can't get it cut on, rub it back and forth, and if it does, there's hope in this controller. So with that said, let's go ahead and plug this guy up. Now I see the problem contact right here. This one, it's not really rusted, but it definitely has some good corrosion on there. I'm gonna use just a little bit of Bright Boy and see if that'll shine it up enough for it not to have any more issues. And voila, everything's working every time now. Alright, so let's go ahead and plug this guy up. Alright, so now we got this up here so we can get ready to sync the controller. The moment of truth, will there be a game inside? Let's see. Come on. Damn it. Nah, there's nothing in there. But you know, boy can dream. That's always the case. Alright, let's see if this thing will sync up and actually work, because you definitely got to test it. Wii's are notorious for not wanting to read a game. Alright, we got Munster 4x4 World Circuit. Let's see if it'll read. The disc tray is working fairly nice here. It's pulling the disc in. It's not scuffing or anything. Come on. Oh yeah, I read that very quickly. Very nice. So I'll test this controller, make sure it's up and running. I'll throw a GameCube game in there, make sure it's going to read that. But other than that, $7 for this Wii, fantastic. I'll remove this sticker with some Goo Gone and some patience, and $7, an amazing amazing pickup right there. There'll be some good room for profit on this one. So anyways, let's move on to the other console. I'm going to go ahead and test this one up, and we'll get that checked out. Alright, next up is this Nintendo GameCube, and I paid just $5 for the console, but on the inside was a copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee. This is a great opportunity for me to test the game and obviously test the console. I like to pair these consoles up with aftermarket controllers. I always sell the consoles or the controllers separately. They fetch a good price for Smash Bros. Players. And I just so happen to have an extra power pack for the GameCube itself. Don't use aftermarket power packs for GameCubes. Really, any console if you can help it. They're just not the greatest quality. It's not the best thing to use. Always use official if you can. These, if you are a game hunter or if you are a reseller, I highly suggest investing in these. These are super cheap. I get these for like $1.50, $2 a piece. Maybe even less than that. I order them in bulk. These are universal with N64, GameCube, and Super Nintendo, so use these. It's very rare that I have one that doesn't work, but you always want to test the one you're going to sell with the console with it, because I have had defective ones before. Now, this particular GameCube does have the digital AV out, which is just slightly more sought after than a standard, so you can usually fetch a few dollars more for that. Go ahead and plug this guy up here and see if we got some action going on. Alright, do we got power? Absolutely. Good red light. Oh, that classic sound right there. You cannot hate that noise. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and clean the laser just to, you know, if the game doesn't read, I'll know that it is the laser, or not. I won't know that it's laser, but I'll know that the laser is not the issue because I've already cleaned it. Just to avoid that. Plus, it's good to go ahead and get that done anyways. And to do so, just a small amount of isopropyl very lightly on the laser with a Q-tip. And then reverse the Q-tip and dry it up just a little bit here. Alright, let's go ahead and plug in our controller here and see if it's reading that memory card. Controller's working. Memory card is working. It's always fun to look at people's saves. Person was a huge Resident Evil 4 fan, which I appreciate because so am I. Alright, now I can see this controller is acting a little bit funny. See, when I push up, it wants to act stupid. So we'll have to test it with another controller. I got a bunch of these controllers from a buddy of mine. It was a trade, but apparently some of them want to be problematic. But anyways, let's test out the game. The game's going to be important, and then I'll try it with another controller here. Smash Brothers has a few scratches, but doesn't look terrible. Let's see if it'll read. Reading disc, come on. Please insert Nintendo GameCube disc. Now I'm hoping that Smash Brothers isn't too beat up. Now it shouldn't be. Let's go ahead and give it a wipe with a felt cloth here. Alright, I'm not happy about this, but what I am going to do, I'm going to try another GameCube game, and if I had the same issues, we could have a laser problem here, not the game necessarily itself. So let me grab another game and try it out. Alright, so I got a copy. This is my personal copy of 1080 Snowboarding, which someone asked me what game do I use to test a controller, all the buttons on there. Always 1080. It's a cheap game, it's a fun game, and it uses all the buttons. So will it read? Let's see. There we go. Insert disc on this one, and I know this one reads every time. I'll try to clean the laser one more time, but usually with these, the lasers just fail over time. I could try adjusting the pod on there, but honestly, with a GameCube, for the price that it sells at, opening up and doing all that, honestly, it's not worth it to me. Again, it's not working correctly. The laser is moving and it is spinning, so it could likely be just a simple pod adjustment. But for $5 to get Melee, I'll test Melee in the other room. I'll let you know if that actually worked or not, but I got a feeling it will. And I can sell the GameCube defective. You can't get much for them, but usually I like to let them build up. If I get 5 or 6 of them, let someone who wants to take the time to open each individual one up and get the pots cleaned up, they can do that. But for me, I'm just going to move on. The real prize of this was the copy of Smash Brothers. So with that said, I'm going to move on to another console. I know some of you people out there be like, man, just go ahead and do it, but it'll probably take me 30 minutes or so, and I can use that 30 minutes on something that's actually going to work. I can just put this off to the side. The $5 was for the game itself, plus it had an official memory card in there, which is always nice to bundle with the system. Who knows, I may fix it later if I get bored and don't have nothing to do, but in this shop, I usually always have something to do. So let's move on to another console. Alright, so next up, I got 2 Nintendo NESs, and if I can get power and a signal from both of these, we'll go ahead and start a time-lapse of them. Whenever you pick up NESs, it is almost without a doubt that it's going to have issues. Always keep that in mind. It's the way I look at it is if I can get a signal out of this thing, and if I can get it to read a game, even if it's garbled or glitched out, I can fix it. That's how I feel about it usually. If I don't get any TV signal at all out of it, it's usually a lost cause. It could be a capacitor issue, and those capacitors are under a big metal shield that is very hard to get off and deal with. So with this one, I'm already getting a signal here. Let's go ahead and see if it'll read a game. Grab the classic Bayou Billy here. Simple blow test in there just to... Oh, that is so loose right there. That game could just fall out. Alright, can I get any signal out of it? Yeah, so there it is. It already read right there. Simple blow, but I won't have it to where it does not work every single time. That's the way I like to fix these. I got a goo gun on the top of this and clean this thing up nice and get that going. But during yard sale season, I end up with stacks of NESs, and I do these all the time, frequently enough to where I know if it's fixable or not within the first few seconds. It sounds like I'm gloating, but it's just, you do something so long, you just develop a knowledge for it. Alright, here is the second one. Got some good yellowing on there. I've had people who wanted me to do videos on de-yellowing a console, SNESs, NESs, whatever it may be. There's a handful of different ways to do it. You can do it with peroxide. You can put these in bags and whatnot. And again, it doesn't bother me enough to really want to do that for the price that these consoles sell for the time it takes to do that. If it was something for me to personally do, if I didn't go out hunting, of course I'd do it. But for the chemicals it costs and everything, it is definitely not worth it for me. All right, oh yeah, I got a signal there. Go ahead and try out old Bayou Billy here. Come on, give me a signal. Those pins are so loose. I got a signal. I'm not worried about this one. There we go. Oh. There we go. Alright, so that one's going to be fixable. No problem on that. So, what I'm going to do after this plane flies overhead Oh, those pins, I mean, I could literally probably just set this console up. Oh, look, and it did slide all the way in without me having to do anything. Look at this, look at this. It is not supposed to do that. Those pins are so loose right there. But what I'm going to do, and a lot of people like this, is I'm going to do a time lapse of me fixing both of these consoles, and I'm going to go ahead and refurbish that Game Gear, and it'll be a short time lapse. I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. So I like to show the time lapses because the people who buy these consoles, they can see the work that's done into them, and especially for people who send in work to be refurbished, they can see that they are getting their money's worth big time. So with that said, after the time lapse, we will test these things out, make sure they are working as they should. So enjoy it. Alright guys, so I was checking out this Game Gear, and the bad news is on this one is, as it stands, I can't refurb this one. Let me show you on the screen here, just give you an idea if it'll pick it up at all. Anytime you have graphical issues like that when you cut this thing on, it is not a capacitor issue, it's going to be a board issue, guaranteed. So with that said, I can still fix this, but in order for me to fix this, I got to take one of my spare Game Gears that need to be refurbished and replace the guts into this. But before I do that, I need to message the person and see if he's okay with that, because that will be additional, because I cannot fix that. That is the type of problem that I have. If not, I'll just have to refund him his money and ship back to him. That is unfortunate. I never like to see these blue Game Gears go to waste like this. So it can be fixed. I just have to sacrifice one of my Game Gears to get it working. But a good rule of thumb is, if you ever pick up a Game Gear and it's got graphical issues like this, when you cut it on and you play with the actual brightness, it's not going to be fixable. That is not going to be a capacitor issue. You can tell it's very obvious whenever you get into these that this is not going to be a capacitor problem. It's going to be a board problem. So unfortunately, that one we will have to wait on it. But let's go ahead and test these NES consoles and see if they are performing like they are supposed to. Before we actually test the console, I want to make sure I have a very clean game to do so with. No matter how good of a job you do on a refurb job, it's not going to work if your game is dirty. Now, we know Bayou Billy works, but we want to make sure it's 100% clean. And if you're wondering why, if you're new to the show, The Life of a Game Hunter / Collector, and you want to know why I didn't teach you how to do a refurbished NES job, I have a complete in-depth tutorial on how to do so. Just check my page, type in how to refurbish an NES console, Renebean, and you will find it. It's a popular video. A lot of people have great results with it. It's the same exact tutorial that I still use today. The only difference is I don't clean games with a rubber stamp anymore. That was way back in the day. I just use Bright Boy. Bright Boy is phenomenal stuff. Alright, so here we are with the two NES consoles here. We're going to go ahead and test the top one. Make sure it's going to do like it's supposed to do. And test it with a controller here. close that door so we don't have any light issues. All right, here we go. So obviously it's not going to blink. The lockout chip has been disabled in it. Let's see if it'll read Bayou Billy like it's supposed to. There we go. First try, every try. Let's see if I take it out, put it back in. That's how it's supposed to work, so that is good. Is the controller working as it's supposed to? Let's go ahead. Game mode A, Bayou Billy. This ain't the best game, but it's what it is. All right, move on. Let's test the other console here. And there we go. So that one's working good. I'll check the controller port on it. But that's how I do it. It's not hard work. It's about, you know, maybe 20-30 minutes per console. But it's going to make the game play as it's supposed to. It's up to you. Damn right it is. But anyways, that's all I got for this episode. If you haven't checked out the Discord server, I highly recommend it. Bunch of knowledgeable people there. If you wanted to buy, sell, trade, or just talk about retro gaming, that link is in the description. I'm going to message my buddy here, see if he wants to go through with the full refurb on this, or if I have to send it back. That is unfortunate. I should have asked him if it powered on, if it had graphical glitches, but I don't charge if I can't fix it. That's my rule of thumb. And when it comes to a graphical glitch like that, that is the board. I guarantee it. You can have lines on the screen and fix it. That is no issues with capacitors, but depending on this type of glitch that I see, this is unrepairable. I've done hundreds of Game Gears. I know. But anyways, that's all I got. Hopefully y'all have learned something. Get out there, get hunting, making some money. Take care, and enjoy the rest of your day.